Hi everyone, Emma here. I am going to make a bracelet with some leather, and I'm going to use this beautiful mermaid bead as the embellishment. So I made a bracelet previously on a video. That's this one here. And there was a bit of discrepancy on the length that you need to cut for a 7.5-inch bracelet. So this ended up being a 7, just slightly bigger than a 7-inch bracelet. So those dimensions, I will include the new dimensions in this video as well as the other. So you may have seen it in the description, but in case you're wondering, that's where that information is. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do the 7.5-inch bracelet. So I'm going to make this one for my niece, Allie. And yeah, so let's take a look. You will need 3mm cord, and I get mine from Exotica Leather. Then you're going to need some Eslon. I got this at Art Beads, but you can get it pretty much anywhere. Your cording, I used in a different bracelet, I used this wax cord, and you can get that, not this wax cord particularly, but a imitation sinew Michaels sells. So that looks really good on these as well. But definitely some Eslon cord. Whatever cord you have, it'll work. I'm sure the cotton cord works, whatever. So this, because it might be a little more durable over the years of use. But so there we go. So then you're going to need your anchor clasp. And I will take a look on AliExpress and see if I could find some of these clasps that look a little less like an anchor, although you do need them to come across that way, but something particular with these big holes so you can fold your leather around them. These are so simple, and then of course it's limitless what embellishments you can put on it. So let's take a look. So I've already cut. The length of cord that you're going to need, or leather, is 48 centimeters for a 7.5-inch wrist. Now, what I want to show you with this leather, so you can see it's kind of keeping this shape from it being on the spool. I have this tool here, it's called an awl, and it softens your leather. So, but when I was looking for that, I came across my dapping mallet, and you could use something like this. Anything that's kind of rounded, maybe a piece of dowel that's smooth and not going to damage your leather. But basically, what you want to do is go find like the curve and go in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to go that way and bring it over and do that a few times. You can use your hands for sure. So you can see it's starting to flip the other way. And this just softens it up, makes it easier. I'm going to try it on here like that. Go both ways. Makes it more pliable. The leather gets a bit dry from sitting on the spool. And if you have finish on your leather, be careful. The finish will come off. So this is natural leather. There is some coloration on it, but it's not like a coating. If you have some of the leather that has a coating, you have to be careful. It will scratch off. So find your ends. I'm actually gonna see if I can bend my ends a little more, because I want this to be as simple as possible. There. So bring them together that, and you find the midpoint. So now let's grab some cord. Grab a bunch of it. See if we can use one piece for the whole thing. So it depends how much cord you want to cut off at once. Create your loop. Nice long loop like that. And I'm going to tilt my camera here so I can do this close to me. Stay in frame. And let's enlarge this a bit. So we're going to need this. Here is something I didn't mention in the last video. As you're making your bracelet, make sure that you fold your pieces under. So you can see this clasp has a rounded edge here, so this would be the exposed side, the one that you see, and then the one that's on your wrist is this side here. So that would be the downside. So slide your clasp on and fold those two pieces. And the length of the fold is up to you, but you definitely want to have a substantial amount here because these, the leather is stiff. So you want to make sure that you're gonna have enough of a wrap in this to hold these guys in. I'm trying to get them as straight as possible. And then kind of pinching there. Let's hang on to that. Get our loop. And you don't have to put that big a loop. Just exaggerating it a little bit. And hold everything in place like that. There's your end. Now you're going to start wrapping. And try and wrap as close to the clasp as possible. And bring it tight. Like that. Let's keep getting it all squinched up nice. Because squinched is a real word. There we go. So I haven't been doing videos like besides unboxings lately, and I took a look and I was like, ooh, that's not good. So I have been working on stuff. It's almost like I need like a week of break from doing videos so I can do some research on different designs. So I have a bunch of designs to show you. I'm so excited. So I'm hoping today that I'm going to get through a bunch of videos. Of course, it doesn't help that I'm doing two of the same video. Okay, so now I am going to bring my end of my cord through the bottom. And I'm going to switch hands here so you can see a little better. I'm going to go through the two strands and through the loop like that. Okay, bring it all through. So you see I have a lot of thread there. I don't really need to have that much on it. Okay, and I'm going to snug it in. Switch hands again like that. Now we're going to take this side and pull, and you see the loop grabs a hold of the strand and pulls it through like that. And you want to be sure you've got both sides kind of even. Take both sides and pull. It's nice and snug. That is not going anywhere. You can adjust these guys into place here. I'm going to pull again to see if it's there. And again, you could go a little further, but it's not going to matter, this piece here. So now we just cut this. I'm wondering if I can bring this down through the middle. I may not be able to. It's a bit snug in there. Let me see. Just thinking if I can get it to the back so you don't see the clipped edge. Let's see if I can. If you have a collapsible needle, you could do that. One more try and then we'll call it a day. Yeah, it's quite in there, quite a bit. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So hang on to your cord and clip it. You see what I mean? This is sticking up, but we'll poke that back in and do the same for this one. Just poke that in there. All gone. Like feeding a baby. All gone. It's not working the way I want it. There. And you can put a dab of glue if you want. I don't think it's necessary. Like that is super snug. That's not going anywhere. Okay, so let's go to the other side. And I think I'm gonna see if I can get this to go the way I want it. So that's what this does too, is it gives it the rounded edge where you want it. A bit. There, that should do. So let's do the same to this side, but we want to pinch this and figure out how big a clasp. That's way too big. So we'll go a little closer and keeping this even though. So I think that should. There, that's it. So it's quite small. Let me put there. Get my cord. Make your loop. That. And position it there. Make sure you have your cord sticking out and pull it tight. And then start to weave in the opposite direction towards your finger. This should be in the middle. There. I think maybe 2 more times. So before I pull it tight, I am going to double check, first of all, if they're close to the same length, and make sure your clasp fits in. Perfect. Easy, easy. So you could actually go a little, let me see. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put the cord through the middle from the bottom, like that. And grab the other piece and put it through the loop. Pull it in and tuck it down like that. Hang on to that there and pull your loose end. Turn it around so you can see. There we go. And so you can see it's kind of right there. We're going to pull both strands and that will flatten it out and stick it between the 2 pieces of leather. There. That is super tight. That's not going anywhere. There, cut these edges. That. And then this side. Sweet. Double check before going on to the next section, so that fits perfect. Okay, so now I think I need more cord, so let's grab another piece of cord. I want to make sure you have enough cord because this is a long bead, and it's also, you might want to double check to make sure this is going to go through it. Some of these check glass beads are smaller. There, that's going through nicely. Okay, so let's find the midpoint. Get our bead in the middle where we want it. So about there, and then we're going to put about 8 to 10 wraps on either side of it. So we're going to start about here. I would mark it, but I kind of don't want to. I think she needs to go a little off to one side. Okay, so I'm just going to, you can kind of pinch it with your nail and leave a mark, but I'll just make sure I hang on to that. So create your loop again. Now this time your loop's going to have to be longer because it's going to have to pass the bead plus about 10 wraps. So we're going to do a nice and long one. So let's put that there at the middle. That, and we'll start to wrap. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to move my fingers here. 4, 5, 6. I'm going to push these guys together a little. 7, 8, 9, 10, I think, because she's so long, I feel like you need to balance it with a little more. Okay, so you're going to take it from the bottom. I'm just going to switch this around so I can hold it. So go through the bottom, through the 2 pieces of leather, and through the loop. I'm going to make sure that's, let's go through the bottom first because that loop is twisted. It's not going to make a difference, but I want to make sure that everything lays really flat. Okay, so I went through the 2 middle pieces of leather, then go through, actually this way, through this loop. And I think that's twisted here. There we go. Okay, and bring your leather nice and tight to the other side like that. Okay, so we're going to ignore this again because we're going to continue. This is where we want to thread our beads. I'm going to hang on to that. And see if we can get her threaded nicely. Like that. Bring her right down to where you ended your wrap. This is gonna be amazing. This is why I was like, oh, I have to do another video of the same bracelet. Okay, I'm just gonna get these guys here because now we're gonna go down through the middle and then start a wrap. Again, you don't have to do this kind of stuff. This is like getting really nitpicky with where your thread lays and stuff like that. You may not notice it, so not a big. Okay, so bring that close as you can and start to wrap. So there's your first wrap. I'm going to switch hands. This is awkward. And just, yeah, so I want to make sure that she's laying flat on the leather. And it might be just the way the bead is. Okay. So let's get that in there nice. I think it needs to be tighter here. There's 3, 4. I'm going to switch. This is not working on this side. I'm learning that I have still some rehab to do on my hands because I'm finding this kind of stuff a little bit awkward. Okay, so let's get this nice and tight. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why is it so loose? There we go. One more. 10. There. Okay, so we're at 10. Push that down. Now we're going to go up through the middle of the leather and through the loop. That through both of those. Yeah, it's hard on my hands. There we go, like that. It pops out. Oh, that. Bring it all the way through, and let's get this all down here and snug everything down. Just hang on to that. Okay, so you got your lovely bead, and we're going to watch the magic. So we're going to pull this tail here. That. And pull. Let's tuck that under that there. So I think the knot is, yeah, it's right about there. So at about the 4th strand. So that's good. I wouldn't go any further than that because I think if you pull it through here, then it will come loose. So you want it, the cords to actually, so I'm going to pull on both sides and that should tighten that there and straighten out these strands. And that's it. This is done. Let's cut this off. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So I think I have 8 of these mermaids. You may see a few of these. I'm definitely making one for myself. Oh my heavens. So just kind of playing with the leather to get it smoothed out a bit. And there is that. that adorable? And you could like really go to town and add like a little crystal at the top and the bottom as you're weaving it through. Oh, it's amazing. There we go. Let me double check the size. This looks really big. I'm very sad. If it's going to be over 8, I'll give up. So it's kind of like it's right at the 7.5 mark, but that's so that clasp makes it a little, harder to determine the size. But there we go. It's definitely a 7.5. So there's our lovely mermaid bracelet. Thanks for joining me, and stay tuned. I have a bunch more videos to show you. Ta-da!